So here we go. School Street's right here. So tell me something that's parallel to it. Esser. Okay, Esser up here is parallel, right? When it takes this little curve down here and becomes Herf, that's not so parallel. What else? Plant Avenue.
Garden Street.
This part of Garden Street's parallel to it.
Part of Main Street.
This, in other words, South Main.
Yeah.
North Main's not.
Part of Harvard.
This little, you think this is parallel? Okay, I'll go with you there. It appears to be parallel to School Street. Any more?
No.
Those all are parallels? Okay, pick another color. And let's find all the ones now that are perpendicular. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight my parallel, pick a new color, and go ahead and find your perpendicular one. Everybody know what to School Street? Everybody know what perpendicular is? You'll make T. It'll make a T.
Wait.
That's what makes it.
Oh.
So if School Street's right here, you're looking for, well, it'll make a T this way. It'll make a sideways T. In other words, it forms what type of angles? 90-degree angles, right angles, yeah. Yes, it is the Bernie map. I found the image online and stuck it on there for y'all. I don't know how old it is though. Can't be too old because that old number 9 trail. I don't know how long they've called it that.
I don't know. I'm
Optimus Park used to be called Poison Ivy Park, so I don't know if they actually put that in writing now. This little park was Poison Ivy Park. When my kids were, little. Perpendicular. You got some perpendicular ones for me?
Yes.
Adler. What else? What? Highland. Bandera. Or 46. Hickman. Anybody know the Hickmans?
No. I think I live on this street. Down the street.
It's probably pretty.
I do. One of the Hickmans is my daughter's best friend. They've known each other for quite a while. Huh? Blanco's one.
What part of River Road do you want?
This part right here, Rosewood would be, right?
Oh, and
You think this part of River Road, just this part right here would be? That one thing right there, you're going to have to be more specific. I don't know what that is. Over here, if I bounce all the way over here to this 46, is that? Anything else?
Yes. I feel like Rosewood would be a little bit of it.
Alright, well we got this part of Rosewood Avenue. But this part, not so much. Are there any more perpendiculars or do we get them all? Okay, the last thing I want you to look for, perpendicular lines, they would of course cross, unlike parallel lines wouldn't. Now some of these wouldn't just because, there's Blanco doesn't go through City Hall to go over there and cross it, yes? So what I want you to look for now is specifically the ones that intersect but do not intersect at a 90 degree. So you're literally looking for the ones that actually in this world will cross School Street but not at a 90 degree. Pick a third color. So these will be your intersecting scenarios. And the reason I say the ones that actually do is because we could highlight probably all the rest of the map.
Basically.
Will you let Isaiah? He's junior. Are you taking Did we start it yesterday? Yeah. Okay, intersecting. Tell me some lines.
Basically all Main Street.
North Main, so up here it intersects?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it, no.
What else?
Antonio Road, right over there.
Oh,
San Antonio, so right here.
Oh, we used to live on that road too.
What else?
I
just
think
realized.
exit 540
We used to live on T.
Okay, so right here.
Yeah.
great, it's like here.
That actually kind of looks a little perpendicular to that little piece, but anyway.
I found one.
What else?
River Road and River Road.
What and what?
River.
Road, River Road.
River Road's way over there. It's never gonna come over here and cross
just
it.
kidding.
I'm looking for the ones that are actually Loman.
And that other part.
Oh. And then this piece of Garden Street looks like it intersects, but not at a 90, correct? Is there anything else crossing School Street that we're missing?
No.
Okay, so we kind of got the idea. I'd like for you to take a look at this page that you should have. I'd like for you to start right here. Find the slope of AB, then find the slope of BC, find the slope of CD, and then find the slope of AD. I found another space. I'm going to put it right there. In other words, find the slope of every single one of those lines. Make sure you pay attention reading it from left to right if it's positive or negative. We tend to forget to make some of our negative slopes negative.
I can't read the numbers. Is it going up by one?
Yeah, the scale's all by ones. Nice, get it. Who's got AB? 1. So AB has a slope of 1. What about BC?
Negative 4.
-4. CD?
1.
And what about AD? Okay, so down here it asks you to write some equations. So the equation for AB, if it has a slope of 1, does it have a y-intercept that's nice and pretty there for us so we can put it in slope-intercept form? Let's remember all our forms. Y equals mx plus b. Y equals mx minus h plus k. And then the one we just like the most, standard form, which is y equals ax plus by equals c. Of all these choices, which is the equation that is the easiest to write? So long as you have a b, right? So for AB, do we have a y-intercept that's pretty?
Yes.
What is it?
3.
So I would put y equals, what's my slope? 1. So 1x is x plus 3. Is that correct?
Yes.
Then they ask us for BC. Take a look at BC. Do you see a pretty y-intercept?
No.
No. So if we're not going to use this, which one would we use? We would use our point slope because this has a point of HK. So tell me a point on BC that we want to use. 2 what? 2 what? 5? Okay, so the slope of that line is -4, so we would write y equals -4, parentheses, now what? X. It's a 2 on the outside, so insiders lie, so -2, and then +5, because outsiders are the good guy. Okay, taking a look at CD, what's the slope? CD.
-1.
1. Looking at that, does it have a good y-intercept?
Yes.
It has what?
-3.
Negative what?
2.
-2. So that means I got y equals what?
Negative 2x. Y
X
equals
minus
x minus 2.
Slope is 1, so x, and then my y-intercept is -2. Last scenario, we got AD. Does AD cross our y-axis in some pretty place?
No.
So we're going to use our point slope again. So what point do we want, A or D? What is A? -5, -2. So that means I got y equals -4, parentheses, x plus 5, because insiders lie, -2. On the right side, what's the slope for AB again?
1.
What's the slope for CD?
1.
What can you tell me about those two lines based on looking at them?
Parallel.
They appear to be parallel. Since their slope is the same, are they parallel? Yes, because they will rise and run at the exact same rate, which means they will never intersect. When you see two lines and they look parallel until you confirm their slope is the same, you don't know. They just look it. You go off to infinity, they could be slightly different, and eventually they will intersect. So these are parallel. We okay with those ideas? Okay, so now let's take them to the next step. Define parallel lines. We've got a lot of information about parallel lines, so what can you tell me? Okay, so they got the same slope. What else can you tell me about parallel lines? They don't intersect. Anything else? Okay, I'm going to give you some information and then you have to figure out what to do with it. Coinciding lines have the same slope. Are they parallel?
Different y-intercepts.
There you go. They have different y-intercepts. Anything else about parallel lines we need to know, or is that enough information for us?
Straight line.
Well, the definition of a line is
Straight.
straight. Okay, so examples. Well, if you were using a symbol for parallel, that would be your symbol for it, and you'll see me use that because I don't like to write the word parallel over and over again, so you'll see me use that. I'm going to write down an equation of a line. You are to come up with a parallel equation. On your paper, write that, and then below it, write an example of a parallel equation. There are infinite possibilities. Anna, what'd you put?
Y equals 2x plus 1.
Y equals 2x plus 1 plus 1. That wouldn't be parallel at all. That'd be coinciding. There we go. Plus 1. Now it is. Yes. Audrey, Miss Shock, what you got?
What's the question?
Yes, for this question.
So what is the question?
Oh, what is the question? I don't know. You should have been paying attention. Blaze, what you got?
Y equals 2x plus
2x plus 10. So I actually could have y equals 2x plus anything except
Negative.
except 0.
Yeah.
Has to have the same slope but a different y-intercept. So if you had 0, you'd have the coinciding lines, correct? We okay with that?
Sure.
Okay, now let's try. What if I just give you stuff? For example, this is my original line. Y equals 3x plus 2. If we were to graph it, what? Plus 2 and then 3 would be pretty steep. Do you agree? So that's just a rough sketch of that line. They want us to find a line that is parallel to it. If it is parallel to it, what will my slope be of my new equation? 3. So my parallel slope will be 3 because it has to be the same if it's going to be parallel. Using that, it also tells me it has to go through this point 6, 5. So let's see. If I plotted 6, 5, that'd be 6. Wouldn't it be about right there?
So 5.
Okay, so I'm going to have a line that does something like this. Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay, so based on that, would this be good? Do I know the y-intercept?
No.
So do we want to write this equation in HK form or standard form? Because we obviously don't have the y-intercept. HK. So that means I'm going to go with y equals mx minus h plus k. We've already decided m is what? 3. If it needs to go through this point of 6, 5, how do I plug it in to make it do that? X minus 6, because insiders lie, and plus 5. There you go. This is the equation of a line that is parallel to that line and goes to the point 6, 5. Voila. Then they ask us, oh, okay, we want it in slope-intercept form now. Is it in slope-intercept form right now?
No.
How could we get it that way? Just simplify it. Do you agree? So let's see. If I started the simplifying, I would multiply 3 times my parentheses, right? So 3x would be 3x. And 3 times negative 6 would be? Do I also multiply my 3 times my 5? No, because it's not in the parentheses. So then I got this plus 5 out there. Giving me y equals 3x. So this would be the slope-intercept form. It is the exact same line as that one. It goes to the point 0.65. And it doesn't matter which one you use, you should graph the exact same line. And it should be parallel to this one. Are we okay with that idea? Okay, so this is the easy scenario. Say they gave it to me in slope-intercept form. What if they don't? What if they give it to me in standard form? Can we convert that to slope-intercept form?
Yes.
What is it? What are we doing if we're doing that? What are we trying to get by itself?
Y.
Y. So what would I do first?
Y equals
Divide by
Subtract x from both sides. So I got 2y equals negative x plus 8. Do you agree? Did I do it correct? Okay. Is y by itself?
No, divide by 2.
Divide everything by 2. Good. 2, 2, 2. Over here, my 2's cancel. I got y equals. Can you help me to write that first term so it looks like it has a slope instead of this weird? It's not negative 2x.
Negative 1/2.
Very good. This is like having a 1 up here, isn't it? So I got negative 1/2 x plus, what's that stuff going to be? This is standard form and would graph the exact same line as this right here, which is in slope-intercept form. Are we okay with that? Do you believe me when I tell you that, or do you want me to prove it to you?
I believe you.
I don't even know what all that was. We have to do parallel. So what is the parallel slope going to be? Yes, it's going to be the same, right? Parallel lines have the same slope but different y-intercepts. We have to create a line that is parallel to this line but goes through this point. Is that point the y-intercept? No, so we can't use slope-intercept form. We got to use that other one. So we're going to do y equals mx minus h plus k. We know our parallel slope is going to be, not exactly, negative 1/2. It's a big difference, isn't there? On the parentheses, I'm going to do x, and I got a 4 up there, so how do I plug that in? If it's positive on the outside, it'll be negative on the inside. And then I got a k of 5. Plus 5. This line right here would be parallel to this line. They want us to also put it in slope-intercept form. So what would we do? Okay, so if I do that, I got y equals negative 1/2 x. Now what? Plus 2 and plus 5. So y equals. Good. Say they asked us to put it in standard form, because in a second on your classwork you're going to have to put it in standard form. Standard form, just to remind you, is ax plus by equals c. What can you tell me about a, b, and c? They must be integers, which means no decimals, no fractions. And a also must be positive. Okay, so we're going to take this and we're going to put it into standard form. What would be my first step? My first step is I'm going to get c, which is the constant, all by itself. Because I want to get that x term over there with the y, don't I? So how do I do that? Add what?
Subtract y?
No, I want to move that over there. I don't want to move the y.
Add 1.
add 1/2 x. Don't forget, you got to add your, if this is being subtracted, I want to do the opposite because I want to make this go away. What I do on one side, I got to do on the other. That's going to give me 1/2 x plus y equals 7. Is that in standard form? It is?
No.
I thought a, b, and c had to be integers. So is it in standard form? No, I've got a fraction. I can't have any fractions or decimals. What's in this denominator? 2. So if we want to make the 2 go away, what should we do? So if I multiply this whole thing by 2, well, what's 2 times 1/2? Yay! That means we don't have a fraction anymore. Got to remember to multiply everything, though. What's 2 times y? And what's 2 times 7? So this would be standard form. This would be slope-intercept form, and that would be HK form. We just wrote 3 different forms for one line. Okay? I'm going to give you a little practice with parallel. Recording, my bad. Sorry, we missed a little bit of the rectangle. A, B, B, C.
Oh yeah, we should do that again.
Oh, no, we're not doing that again.
Oh,
A, B, B, C. Oh, you want to say hello?
Yeah.
We're in the middle of the video already. A, B, B, C. Tell me how they're different.
A, B, the slopes are different.
Thank you. I agree. Can you be more specific in how they're different? I mean, that was the question.
No, it's not.
Okay, one's half and the other one's not.
What's negative? B, C.
Oh, look. One's negative and one's positive. So they have opposite signs.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think, Emma? Hmm? So, for example, say this is my line. Is that a positive slope?
Yes.
What type of slope am I going to have if it's going to be perpendicular? Most definitely. So you're going to have opposite signs. What else? How else are those two slopes different? I agree with that.
Really?
Hmm? This is like this dead silence
I
out there that's
know.
on
This
a
reminds me
video
of
that I
eighth
can send to
grade.
mom and dad and say, this is what third period was doing. I wonder if
Okay.
that's what happened on their quiz grade.
Third period.
So let's try again. Yes, we are videoing third period Mrs. Moon's class.
Wow.
Welcome back.
So let's try this again.
No.
Looking at these two slopes, we already decided one's positive and one's negative. How else are they different? Yes, Anna?
BC is 4 times as much as AB.
What?
They're different.
This is true.
They're different.
Okay, so I'm going to have to, okay, Candace, you try. That would be the plus and the minus, so yes, I agree. Okay, I'm going to have to give y'all a hint. Are you ready for your hint?
Yes. Oh.
Those are perpendicular. Those are perpendicular.
They have the same denominator.
Oh.
What? Wait.
Oh.
Oh, they're reciprocal. Oh, there it is. They're reciprocal.
That's what I said.
Okay, so let's go over here. Let's see if we can define a reciprocal. What's a reciprocal? Just give me some words that, you know, how you would describe it. I don't need a Webster dictionary thing. What's a reciprocal? You what?
The opposite.
The opposite.
Flip.
So the numerator and the denominator, what? Switch spots? You could also just say, flip it. Right? Isn't that what we say? Flip it, flip it, flip it.
All I remember is 2 1/2.
If you haven't said it now, maybe you will now. Let's do an example. So I'm going to give you one. You write its reciprocal. You write that too. And then write its reciprocal. Keep in mind, this is just the reciprocal. Miss Shock, what'd you get?
Negative 1/2.
Oh, geez. Just the reciprocal.
Oh. 1/2.
There it is. So, here you go. Try that one.
3.
Oh, wow.
If you flip it, yes, you get 3, as somebody already told us. So now we have to define perpendicular lines. What do we know about perpendicular lines? They intersect at
90 degrees.
They intersect at 90-degree angles. So they intersect at 90-degree angles. What else do we know? They don't have the same slope, so tell me about their slope. Thank you. They have different slopes. Can we be more specific? Their slopes have opposite signs. And what else can you tell me about their slopes?
Are they reciprocal?
And they're reciprocal.
Oh.
So in other words, if you have, by the way, this would be our symbol for perpendicular. So let's see, if I had the slope, say 2, the perpendicular would be, change the sign and flip it. Change the sign and flip it.
Oh, change.
Change the sign and flip it.
Wait.
So if I had the original slope of 1/50th, the perpendicular slope would be, write it down. Change the sign and flip it, and we get
50.
negative 50. Oh, you people, change the sign too. Okay, here we go. Let's try. This works just like the parallel thing, but different. Given this equation, the slope is what?
3.
If it were parallel, we would keep that slope, but it's not. They're asking for perpendicular, so it's going to be change the sign and flip it. Negative 1/3. Very good. Doing the exact same thing, we're going to take that point and we're going to plug it into HK. So I got, what's my slope? X. What do I plug in?
-6.
And what goes on the outside? There you go. That would be our HK form. Then they ask us to convert that to slope-intercept form, so let's do that. What would we do?
Distribute.
So I get y equals negative 1/3 x
Plus 3.
plus what?
2.
Plus 2. And then there's that plus 5 out there, so slope-intercept form would be negative 1/3 x
Plus 7.
plus 7. This equation right here forms a perpendicular line to the original one. Notice, I don't care about the y-intercepts. All I care is that the signs are opposite signs and flipped. Yes?
Yes.
What happens if you multiply those two slopes?
Uh-oh.
What do you get?
1. -1.
Yeah. Okay, let's try another. This is just like the last one. Notice, I'd like to show you a little trick. Are you ready for it? You've done it before. AX plus BY equals C. Do you recall this? We did it in the very first unit of the year. You need to go out in the hall. This is standard form. I'm going to convert it to slope-intercept form. What would be my first step? Subtract AX, subtract AX. This was back before you knew it was standard form. then what will we do? Divide by b, divide by b, divide by b. Those cancel. What is the slope of this equation, which is in slope-intercept? So slope equals negative a over b. What's a? 1. What's b? What's negative a over b? There's your slope. Did I have to actually convert it? A little tricky. Okay, so let's see. Then I want to go down here and I'm going to do my slope is negative 1/2. So my perpendicular slope is what?
2.
Very good. Change the sign and flip it. So now I got y equals 2. And it's got to be perpendicular and go through that point. X minus 4, insiders lie. That would be my equation that is perpendicular to the original, but then they also want us to put it in slope-intercept form. We keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. I hope we get it. So now what? How do I simplify? Distribute y equals 2x
Minus 8.
plus 5. So then I got y equals 2x minus 3. This would be slope-intercept form. What if they asked me to put that one in standard form? What would I do first? Very good. I would subtract 2x from both sides, which would give me negative 2x plus y equals negative 3. They're all integers. Is it good to go? No, a cannot be negative. So how do I make that go away?
Multiply
By
2. 1.
negative 1, which will just change all my signs, giving me 2x minus y equals 3. So standard form, slope-intercept form, HK form, all will graph the exact same line, which is perpendicular to this line and goes to the point 4, 5. Yes? Okay.
What?